This video will hopefully talk you through how to write a quality rhetorical précis using the very structured 4 sentences. There are also a few examples at the end of the video of each one of the sentences that I'm hoping will help you create or develop your own. Let's review real quickly what is a précis. Although a précis looks like a summary, it's actually a little bit different. Really, in a summary, you're just kind of retelling the main points. And in a précis, you're more analyzing how the author created or conveyed a purpose. So in analysis, though, I do want to point out to you that analysis and evaluation are 2 different things. So you're at this point not interjecting your own thoughts and ideas about the quality of it or whether or not you agree with them. You are just simply pointing out what it is that the author did. What was their thesis or purpose? What strategies did they use to create that purpose? What was their overall purpose and for what audience? Okay, why do we use rhetorical précis? It allows you a chance to investigate how other people write, how they use strategies to develop a line of reasoning, what type of details and evidence they use in expository and argument writing, and sometimes even the fallacies in their thinking. By doing this, you're better able to move forward as a writer and hopefully improve your own writing, expository or argument, or possibly even otherwise. So a rhetorical précis is a highly structured 4-sentence paragraph that acknowledges the rhetorical situation in which any discourse occurs. The précis records the essential rhetorical elements involved in writing, records being the operative word in that particular sentence. The name of the speaker writer, the context of delivery, the major claim or assertion, the mode of development and or support. That's what I keep calling as saying strategies. Those are strategies they're using. The stated or apparent purpose, and the relationship between the speaker and the speaker writer and the audience. Okay, so we've talked about this 4-sentence structure previously. Just kind of reminding you that this is what it looks like. If you need to read this slide, then go ahead and pause and come back to us. But basically, this is what's going on. In sentence 1, you're identifying the who, what. In sentence 2, you're identifying the how. So in the sentence 1, you're saying what is their thesis? What is their claim? What is their major assertion? What is their main key purpose? And the how is, how are they conveying this or creating this or supporting this? You're doing a why. Why are they writing this? And to whom are they writing? So we've already also looked at the basic template for writing. And if I'm using this in a different year than I'm creating it, then maybe this is the first time you're seeing this. And now you're seeing for the first time a particular template for writing sentence number 1, in which you are including the author's name, the title of the work, and rhetorically accurate verbs such as asserts, argues, suggests, implies, or claims, and then their major assertion of the work. This major assertion may end up being a claim. It may end up being more like a theme, that kind of thing. Sentence 2 is the sentence that people often have a lot of difficulty with. In this sentence, you are analyzing the piece overall and discussing the methodology utilized by the author. This is the how. What strategies are they using to convey their claim, to convey their assertion? So this is where you're actually going to be listing out different things. And on your template that you have received, hopefully, from me, you should have a word bank that looks fairly similar to this. And this is where you're pulling ing words. And these are some of them. You may have other ones in mind that you want to use, but these are strategies that writers use. They do things by comparing or contrasting. Maybe they're defining or demonstrating, so on and so forth. So you'll definitely want to utilize all of your resources when helping you develop this particular sentence. This is not a sentence for you to summarize what was going on in the piece. This is a sentence for you to identify ways that the author created this particular piece. And you also want to do this by utilizing what's called parallel structure. So a lot of times people end up trying to combine all of these different ideas into one sentence. And what they end up creating is this sentence that makes no sense. So when you go back to reread the sentence, if it looks like the squiggle mark and less like parallel lines that are easy to identify or determine a beginning point and an end point, and they're running side by side, nice and neatly, then you probably have a run-on and not a parallel. So here's an example. A run-on sentence combines multiple independent clauses together in a way that is not grammatically correct, or what really you just say grammatical. It is a string of sentence incorrectly combined using commas, semicolons, colons, or maybe none of that. Maybe it's just stuff shoved together into one sentence. Both of the things that you're seeing here are run-on sentence. You'll notice there's a comma and a he, another comma and a he, and that is a run-on sentence. You're not using any kind, oh, there's another one. Whoa, there's a whole lot of stuff going on here. And there's no, it's kind of confusing. There's no conjunctions being used. There's too many subjects. Callahan, he. Sound like I'm laughing. On the inside, I'm crying. This is a very bad sentence. So you wouldn't want to do this. Equally as bad as the one that utilizes these different punctuation marks incorrectly, just kind of happenstance, like, oh, let me drop a semicolon. Oh, there's a colon. Oh, okay, there's comma. Oh, okay, there's another colon. And there's no rhyme nor reason to the use of those. A parallel sentence, though, really focuses, and I think this is probably the best way for you to do it as you're learning what parallel structure is. Try focusing on a common subject. So in that first one, it said Callahan, he. Well, to get rid of the laughter, the he's. Instead, just focus on the person and get rid of all of the extra pronouns. So Callahan supported his thesis by, now I'm going to that word bank I showed you before, and I'm pulling some different ing words and using those to create my parallel sentence. Sharing was one that wasn't on there, but it still worked in the sentence. By sharing facts and evidence about how he survived, comparing his previous life. There's a typo right here. Good thing I caught it right now. Okay. And with his current, and reflecting on what he has learned from his plight. Okay. All of those are ing words. Each one of them ties back into Callahan. If I were to pull just one part of that out, it would still be a complete sentence. Callahan supported his thesis by comparing his previous life with his current period. So that still could work as a complete sentence, but now I'm combining the predicate parts together in a parallel way. The parallel part is that they're all ing words. Okay, not parallel. Beth likes running, swimming, and to ride a bicycle. Sounds so awkward. Just to make them all ing words. Not parallel. Shakespeare conveyed his purpose by his use of iambic pentameter. He liked to discuss key topics of his time period like feminism and classism, writing for all audience, not just the wealthy, by summarizing his plays and prologue. I'm back here. This feels like this picture. It is squiggly, and I don't want it to be squiggly. I don't want my reader to go, what? What are you trying to say? Make it parallel. Clean it up. Shakespeare conveyed his purpose by using iambic pentameter, and I did use a semicolon here because in the second part of this sentence, I do have a clause, or I'm sorry, a phrase that I wanted to set off with a comma, and I didn't want too many commas, so this is a good use of a semicolon. Exploring social issues of his time period, such as feminism and classism, lets me know that that's one part of the sentence, semicolon, and summarizing his plays in the prologue so that all audience members, not just the wealthy, could understand and enjoy the stories. Okay, that helps you fill in this part of the template. And like I mentioned before, you still have this available to you. And honestly, even if you didn't have this available to you, you could probably find this particular template and this particular word bank on your own. But now you've got it in the video, so you could just pause the video and use it here. All right, sentence 3, this is where you're going to state the author's apparent, or intended purpose. So their purpose for writing is not ever revolving around the reader. So you will not say the author's purpose is to invite the reader to continue reading their story. That's kind of a duh moment. Of course, that's what authors intend for a reader to do. They don't write something with the intent of the reader reading a paragraph and going, nah, never mind, I don't want to read that. That's not a purpose. Authors set out with particular purposes in their writing that they want to accomplish. And usually that purpose is tied to the theme or the message that they are attempting to convey. And they are doing that with a reason. So you want to very much consider more of the author's mindset than the reader's mindset here. Okay. And in this case, the author is writing a particular piece for a particular audience. And so be specific with the audience. Like, of course, it's meant for a reader who likes to read. Duh, another duh moment. So instead, be more specific. If it's a children's book about learning to accept people for who they are, then put that as the purpose. If it's a children's book that is meant for children who are facing their own crisis and it will help them work through that crisis, then put that as the audience. But don't be so weirdly specific. Like, an author's not going to write for an audience who is buying this book at the HEB checkout stand. That's an odd, very, very strangely specific audience. So don't be weird with your audience. Be normal with it. Okay, so hopefully that helps you. What I've got for the rest of this particular video are sentences for each one of the templates. And I'm not going to read them to you. I'm just going to kind of scroll through them, pause for a second. That way, if you want to take a look at them and use them as models, you can. So the first set is sentence 1, 2, 3, 4 for one précis. And the second set, same thing. It's sentence 1, 2, 3, 4 for a different précis. Okay. Enjoyed talking with you. Again, please do feel free to look at these slides as I'm scrolling.